Shout out Near Falls with D Hall's podcast.
Welcome to Near Falls with D Hall. He's talking on bars and how they win it all. Yeah, it's just Near Falls with D Hall. The final takedown, the glory or the fall. So loosen up, step on in, wrestle with the need to win. Talking Near Falls with D Hall. Ready or not, he's here to brawl.
What's going on, wrestling fans? Welcome into another edition of Near Falls in the WPIAL. It's your boy D Hall hanging out with you guys for the evening. I got a great show planned for you guys. I know I haven't really promoted it at all, just trying to figure out what made sense, trying to get everyone on. That being said, Kaz, I will have on shortly. I have him previously recorded. He had stuff going on tonight for work, but I was able to record him earlier today, get his team state picks, as well as you guys will see. We are live on the Inside PA Wrestling page. That is Matt Taylor's page. I was able to talk to him last night and get his state picks as well. So a great show planned for you guys. As always, one of the best times of the year. Always an interesting time of year, right? Because this is the time of year where you guys tend to hear people, us, Kaz, Maddie T, myself, bitch about the PIAA process, and you'll hear a little bit of that tonight. Just unfortunate how they do things sometimes, but it is what it is. So before we get into all that, and we talked a little bit about it with Kaz, but I got to touch on it some more, man. The team championships at Peters Township were awesome. Obviously, in the morning there, I wasn't able to catch the double A. I was over at Washington and Jefferson. I had the opportunity to work with Matt Leap and the boys to go out there and cover some of the girls' duels out there. 3 of the top 10 teams in the country were out there. So I took the opportunity to go out there and cover that. And I snuck over for the AAA. I made it out for the finals. I had the semis on my phone pretty much the whole time we were finishing up as the semis were going on for AAA. So I didn't miss too much with AAA. But double, I will say, looking at the box scores, which we're going to bring up right now. Let's see here. Present. So just kind of seeing what we have on the screen here. And again, guys, this is PAWrestling.com. If you guys haven't checked them out, you need to do so. It's a no-brainer. But looking at the championships here over at Peters Township, I'll be honest with you, kind of what I expected. Derry's really, really good, guys. There's nothing that we haven't really talked about all year. That being said, I thought Burrow was going to be a little bit closer there in the championship, but I definitely thought those two were going to meet in the finals. We talked about that with Paul Schofield. We talked about that with Kaz multiple times this year, and came to fruition. So they met in the finals. Derry all over Burrow, 37-13 in that matchup. Now, the third place match is where I was really interested because I really thought that was a toss-up. And it turned out to be 36-31. McGuffey took out Laurel for third place. McGuffey, just the team the last couple of years, really, really good, deep, good at all different parts of their lineup, which is, what helps. But I definitely think both McGuffey and Laurel have chances to win matches, is what we're going to talk about here in a little bit. But again, more of just diving into this match here, the finals. They're just really impressive, guys. And what I love about this squad is they have guys at all points of their lineup, from 107 to the middleweights, even to the upper weights when you got Brady Brown and things of that nature up there. Even Ty Blasco is pretty dang good too. I mean, they're problems. We're going to talk about where they kind of fit in the bracket here in a little bit for the state side of things. But I was impressed to see that outcome. Now, that being said, I really like Burrow's spot in the bracket for Double A, obviously, and where they're going to wrestle tomorrow. which is why we're kind of talking tonight. So just impressive stuff for Derry. Again, not to say that Burrow's completely out of it, because I like their spot and they're a very, very good team. So we will see how it all shakes out here in a little bit. But yeah, that's kind of a little synopsis there of Double A. Moving over to Triple A. Again, this was kind of, I would say, the top four. For all season, I said that it was kind of like 6, 7, 9, 8, 9 teams that could get in there and possibly make the Final Four. And I only had maybe 3 or 4 teams that could possibly win it. It turned out it was kind of a clear 4-team race with the, Kiski and maybe Trinity being the next couple ones in there. TJ with a nice one over Moon as well. But as we filtered into Peters Township this past Saturday, man, both the semifinals, we like, I'm sitting there watching it, me and Matt Leeper, we were like, oh my goodness, because Cannon Mac was giving Norwin all they can handle. We're watching it out of the corner of our eye as we were finishing up, cleaning up over there at W&J. I'm like, listen, they could win this match. Things keep breaking the right way. And unfortunately, just not enough. Norwin, as we're going to talk about with both Matty T and Kaz, just really one of the deepest teams, not only in the WPIAL, but in the state. And just a little bit too much for Cannon Mac there on that semi. Now, on the other semi, same type of thing. Connellsville and Franklin Regional, absolute dogfight, 29-25. I mean, oh my goodness. Again, with Franklin Regional, they just they find a way to win. And that's the sign of really good teams. When you have guys that each different one of these guys in the lineup, they all have a little bit of a clutch gene in them. And that's that's the big thing, man. When you have guys like that you can kind of lean on, every one of these guys, know what their job is, whether that's get a major, to get a tech, not get pinned, not get teched, not get major, whatever the case is. And of course, we'll talk about the coaching staff and how well they do as far as bumping around and getting the matchups that they want. So it came down to the finals, man. And I said it last week on my live show. This is the final I wanted. I'll be completely honest. I wanted this final. I thought it was going to be a barn burner. And guess what? It came down to the last match. If you guys haven't watched it yet, do yourself a favor. Go check it out on, I believe Flo has the video. For me personally, I listened to Smitty and Kaz on Westmoreland Sports Network. They had the call, just audio only. But, man, I kind of synced it up, to be completely honest with you guys. So I was listening to those guys while watching, and guys, one of the best duels I've seen in a long time. Back and forth, really, really close calls. Just, tight pins, tight major decisions, trying to get it came down to the last freaking match, and against two kids that are 1-1 against each other. Colangelo and Butera each have a win against each other. This is the rubber match. I mean, I don't know how else you could script up a better ending to a WPIAL championship in a year that was completely wide open, and it ended with the champs being the champs again, which is very cool, man. You got to give Franklin Regional credit. They found a way to win, get their hand raised, and take home the trophy. Now, all that being said, everything could change here this coming week, starting tomorrow. So just a cool, awesome experience being out there at Peters Township. The crowd was awesome. It was rocking. Again, I heard you guys go back and listen to Smitty and Kaz's call. Very fun, a lot of energy. It was good stuff. But, I had to touch on that a little bit. Okay, guys. Before we dive into Kaz and Matty T's picks, I got to tell you guys about D1 Wrestling Club down there in Jefferson Hills, Pennsylvania. One of the best clubs down in the south part of the city. That is Mr. Snapper, James Fleming, love talking to this dude. Again, when you guys take your kids, or if you're athletes, you want to go take a drive down there, just go down, get a roll in there. And man, the different way of thinking for Mr. Fleming is one of the best in the game. And he's really putting some kids out there now. These kids are pretty high level, and they're starting to make waves. So again, if you're down there in the southern part of the city, go check out D1 Wrestling Club. All right, guys, let's bring on our first guest picker, I guess, of the day, Mr. Matt Taylor of Inside PA Wrestling.
All right, joining me now on the call from Inside PA Wrestling, my good buddy, Matt Taylor. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, real good indeed. As always, it's the time of year we start to have you on the show. And, for those of you out there that are not aware of Matt Taylor's game, go find him on X. That's, what is it, Matt? Inside PA Wrestling or NPA Wrestling?
Yeah, NPA Wrestling.
Good stuff. He puts out previews, predictions, all that kind of stuff, rankings. That's all on his page. You can find all that on his website. He has links for all that on his bio. So, but as always, I always like to bring him on because he has a different flavor. He's out of the middle of the state. What district is that out there, Matt?
I live in District 4.
District 4. Gotcha.
Yeah.
With the Montgomerys of the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Out that way.
Yeah. The Hare brothers aren't too bad out that way.
Nope.
But yeah, so we're gonna dive into his picks here for the AA and AAA team tournament. So let's pull that up right now. Boom. You guys can kind of see out there what we got. We're gonna start with AA. So Matt, let's just do quarter by quarter, and I'm gonna give my picks whenever I do this with Kaz tomorrow. We're pre-recording this so Matt can give his picks on the show tomorrow evening. But Matt, first things first, let's start with the Cornwall and Tri-Valley pigtail there.
Yeah, I got a favorite Tri-Valley in that one. Conwell Egan. District 12 is just a weird district because you don't know what competition they're facing. Obviously, they're 16-0 on the year. Dominated that little area there, but I would go Tri-Valley on that one and face off against Faith Christian there in the first round.
Okay, Faith Christian and Tri-Valley.
Faith Christian.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Don't blame me there. Moving on down, Derry and Penns Valley.
Whew. This is a tough one because if you look at it, they match up really well. This is going to be one of those that comes down to the flip. Who can they send out? I think top to bottom, both lineups are pretty even. I would go Derry area in this one, but this is one of those, as well as the Chestnut Ridge Borough one, where I could see a non-district winner losing the first round.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you want to do that quarterfinal and crown your semifinalists out of that before we move down?
Yeah.
All right. So Faith Christian and Derry.
Got to go Faith Christian on that one. I think it's collision course. Faith Christian, Bishop McCourt.
Got you. Well, that makes that little quarter over here pretty easy. But let's do the Mifflinburg Laurel there. Who do you think is going to come out of that little quarter or that little picture?
Mifflinburg's looked pretty well all year, so I got to go Mifflinburg on that one.
Gotcha. Okay, Clearfield Reynolds in the match below that.
Reynolds has looked really good. They're not the old Reynolds that were dominating state a couple years ago, but they're right up there.
Yeah, hard to argue with that. They beat a couple really good teams up that way, Grove City and things of that nature. So you said Bishop McDevitt and Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Bishop McDevitt over Reynolds?
Yeah, I'd go Bishop McDevitt over Reynolds. I think they've been the third best team in the state all year.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's move on down. We got Chestnut Ridge and Burrell. In a rematch, I believe they wrestled at the Ultimate Duels earlier this year.
Yep, 31-27. That went towards Burrell. That was a duel where Cam Baker knocked off Dom Deputy. That match didn't decide it, but I think you can always look at those matches and take it into this one. I give the edge still to Burrell. I think that they match up very well with Chestnut Ridge, and I think they can move on.
All right. That little pigtail there, Berks Catholic and Montoursville.
This is a really good matchup in the pigtail. Berks Catholics look good all year. Montoursville's kind of been up and down. They started the year pretty slow, but then they went out to Clearfield, the Bison Duels, and performed pretty well there. This is a toss-up match for me, but I got to go Berks Catholic.
Okay. Saucon Valley, Berks Catholic.
Not the old Saucon Valley that we saw win a state title a couple years ago, but still a really good team. I got Saucon Valley beating Berks Catholic.
Okay. And you had Borough above there, so Borough and Saucon Valley in that quarter.
Yep. Moving on to the next one.
Did you get that? I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You get that?
No, I didn't. Who'd you pick there?
What, for Honesdale to Montgomery?
No, for the Borough and Saucon Valley match.
I Borough winning that quarterfinal, moving on to the semis.
Okay. Now moving on down, Hornsdale, Montgomery.
Montgomery's looked good all year. Got to go Montgomery. Kind of interesting that they got to travel all the way to Honesdale. It's going to be a long trek up there, but give me Montgomery in that one.
Okay. The pigtail below there, General McLean and McGuffey.
It's a really good match. McGuffey was in this pigtail last year with Bishop McCourt. Kind of interesting that they're back in it again. General McLean's a really good team this year. They beat some really good teams out there in District 10, but I'll go McGuffey in this one and move on.
McGuffey, McCourt.
Gonna go Bishop McCourt. I think this is a colliding course, like I said.
Yep. So McCourt, I assume over what is it? Did you have Montgomery there? So
yep, over
out
Montgomery.
into the semis. Okay, so who do you got in that bottom semi before we go to the top, my friend?
We're gonna go Bishop McCourt. I think this is gonna be their easiest path to the finals. I got them over Borough.
Okay. Top side, my friend.
Going to be a really good one. But got Faith Christian. I think this is Faith Christian kind of got the draw here. This is the toughest semifinal for either squad, but Faith Christian, I think, takes this.
Okay. Going into the finals, or do you want to go backside first? Who do you have going for third and fourth?
I'll go backside. I think Bishop McDevitt's going to fight back. They're going to get to the third place match. I think Borough, I have both semifinal losers dropping down and making it. I think they're just way better than the others. Derry area is going to have a tough time. Losing early, they're going to have a gauntlet to go through. They're going to have to face Reynolds right away. So that's going to be a tough one. I have Bishop McDevitt over Borough for third place.
Okay. Top side, who do you have winning the AA state championship?
Faith Christian. I don't see Bishop McCourt being able to put out the lineup to beat Faith Christian. I think Faith Christian from 107 all the way down is just really solid. Bishop McCourt kind of has those ebbs and waves like they've had over the years. And I think they give up a forfeit still too at like 114 or somewhere in that area. So give me Faith Christian to win a state title.
Love that. Okay, before we move on to the AAA side of things, I have to tell you guys about our friends over at Fox Run Golf Course up in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. If you guys have not checked it out, please do so. As long as the weather's nice, obviously we have a foot of snow on the ground, but as soon as that melts and starts to get a little warmer, they will be open. I was just there about a month ago, actually in January. So good people, wrestling people, on the come up there. So if you guys are in the area, in the northern Beaver County area, be sure to check out Fox Run Golf Course this spring and summer. All right, Matt, let's move on to AAA. Let's go here. Show this tab instead. Bang. All right. Let's start with Obama Palmyra.
Got Palmyra in this one. They're going to have to make the trek all the way over to the WPIAL. But District 8, a little fuzzy, not the greatest wrestling district. So I have Palmyra moving on to the first round.
No doubt. Okay, and Palmyra is not a bad squad. They actually came over earlier in the year. They came out to the Moon Duels and beat Moon, and they end up losing to Derry, but they're a pretty decent squad.
Yeah.
So let's do Palmyra Franklin Regional in that first round matchup.
Going to go Franklin Regional by a mile. I think they've been the second best team in the state all year.
Okay, Selinsgrove State College.
State College has a really good lineup, and they match up pretty well against Selinsgrove. I think this is going to be one of those they run away early, depending on where this starts. Selinsgrove's pretty good in the heavier weights. State College is pretty good in the lighter weights. So I'll give me State College in this one.
State College Franklin Regional in that first quarter matchup.
State College they don't match up pretty well against Franklin Regional. I think Franklin Regional is a really good team this year. Got them moving on to the semis.
Okay, semifinalist in the top side. All right, let's do that Bethlehem Catholic Owen J. Roberts in the Wild District 11.
Bethlehem Catholic by a mile on this one. Obviously, District 11 is really good. Kind of unfortunate they only get 2 teams. That's a debate that we can have, and but I got Bethlehem Catholic moving on.
It is a debate it's like a whole show debate at some point, Matty T.
Yeah.
All right, so Bethlehem Catholic, Abington Heights.
Bethlehem Catholic's going to move on in this one. I think they have one of the easiest paths out of any of the schools to make it to the semis.
Okay, Boyertown versus Wilson in that first round matchup above there.
This is a really good one, but Boyertown is really good this year. I have Boyertown. This is going to be a tight one, though.
Boyertown, Bethlehem Catholic.
Bethlehem Catholic's going to move on.
Ooh, and District 11 gets their first semifinalist, according to Matty T. All right, let's move on down. That little pigtail there, LaSalle College versus Connellsville.
Got to go Collinsville in this one. Kind of unfortunate that the top 3 schools in the WPIAL, man, they were really close. Everybody was really close in that tournament. And just seeding wise, you kind of get screwed in this one because you're the 3, but give me Connellsville to move on.
Okay, Connellsville versus Gettysburg.
Think very highly of Connellsville. I think they can get the job done here. Again, they got to make the trek out to Gettysburg, so that might impact it. But I think Connellsville, with their lineup, I think is a really good team, and I think they can move into the quarters.
All right. DuBois Norwin.
Norwin's been really good this year, just like Connellsville, just like Franklin Regional. I have Norwin moving on.
All right. Norwin versus Connellsville in another WPIAL matchup.
Oof. This is a tough one. Give me Connellsville in this one. I think Connellsville has enough to move on.
All right. So we got Connellsville. I'm sorry, I lost my spot. Connellsville moving on to the semis from the pigtail there. Love that. Okay. St. Joe Prep versus Council Rock South.
St. Joe's kind of upset LaSalle last week in the district finals. A team kind of coming out of nowhere, didn't know if they had a lineup. They've had really good heavyweights coming from the football team over to, the starting lineups for the wrestling team. Council Rock South, kind of perennial power down there in District 1. I think they get the win here and move on to the quarters.
All right. That little pigtail there below, Central Dauphin Penn Ridge.
Another really good matchup. It's a sneaky good matchup. I'll give the edge of Central Dauphin. I think they have enough in the lineup in the middle weights to get the job done over Penn Ridge.
So Franklin Regional and Connellsville wrestled, and I had to go back and check and see whenever Norwin and Connellsville wrestled. It's been a minute, I believe. So I have to go back and check
early
that.
in the year.
Yeah, I think they might have wrestled earlier in the year because then Connellsville and Cannon Mac wrestled, and actually Cannon Mac beat them earlier in the year, and then Connellsville kind of whooped up on them there at the end. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Nazareth, and who did you say again in that?
Central Dauphin.
Central Dauphin. Who do you got? Nazareth and Central Dauphin there.
Got Nazareth moving on. This is clearly the best team in the state, kind of in that faith Christian category of let's see who beats them first. Nazareth's going to move on to the quarters.
Okay. Who do you got in that quarterfinal?
Again, I have Nazareth moving on. don't think Council Rock South has enough to give them a scare. So I think Nazareth moves on pretty easily to the semis.
Does Connellsville continue their run and knock off Nazareth?
I mean, the WPIAL's really good this year in AAA. I mean, and AA too, but in AAA, Ken and Mac not getting into this tournament is kind of criminal too. I don't think they have enough though to beat Nazareth. I think Nazareth moves on to the finals.
Okay. So you got Nazareth there on that side. And then who did you say? We didn't pick this top side. Who do you got?
One of the best semis I think you're ever going to see in a state tournament.
Woo.
Regardless, I think, man, Bethlehem Catholic, really good team. Franklin Regional, really good team. I don't know if this is an upset. Franklin Regional, I think, will move on to the finals.
Oh, baby. All right. So before we crown our champion, who do you got on the backside coming back for third and fourth?
So I have Bethlehem Catholic dropping down and getting into that third place match. I think they're going to win third. I'll go Connellsville to get fourth. I think that they're going to have a little bit of a letdown from the semis, but I think they're going to be able to bounce back, get to that third and fourth place match, and get fourth.
Love it. Okay. And your AAA champion, Matt Taylor.
No, this is another tough one because I think these teams match up pretty well. But again, I need to see somebody beat Nazareth. So right now I got to go Nazareth to win state title in AAA.
Nazareth over Franklin Regional in the final. All right, Matt. Again, another great dual year is coming to an end. Give me your final thoughts as I leave you go.
I think this has been one of the best years top to bottom in some of the districts, especially in the WPIAL District 11 and District 4 and 2A. I think I haven't seen teams that match up this evenly in a while. And, you know, I was kind of paying attention to WPIAL last week because that kind of had the better matchups. You know, District 11, 3A, obviously, 5 in the top 10 in the state. But the duels out in the WPIAL were so tight last week. You're talking about one match goes this way or one match goes the other way, and we're talking about different teams and different areas in the bracket that they're in. Obviously, you'd like to see more District 11 teams, but, that is what it is. But
it's a mess.
I think AA is probably the best bracket I've seen. I think that any of those matchups you could see going the other way, especially the Penns Valley area one. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. Something that you got to watch out for. And then obviously we saw Chestnut Ridge and Burrow face off a couple weeks ago. That was a tight duel. Good matchups that are going to happen in between there. But one of the better years so far for duels. Kind of unfortunate again that it's not the Giant Center. Kind of had to step up from last year from being L2, and it's in the first Summit Arena this year. But really looking forward to this weekend and watch some of these teams go out and compete.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, definitely wish it was the Giant Center. We were just talking to Smitty about that. I don't know if he remembered or forgot, or he was kind of losing on the broadcast. So
yeah,
again, if you guys haven't listened to Kaz and Smitty's broadcast, they were just audio only. But man, the energy was there. Matt, if you haven't listened to it yet, it's on Flick's site, Westmoreland Sports Network. It was incredible. They were losing their minds. The gym was doing the jumping, and it was losing it. Yeah. So it was a great time, great duels. Again, like you said, very, very tight. And Cannon Mac definitely is one of the better teams in the state, and they're left at home. It's just how it is sometimes. But yeah, man, excited to talk to you down the line as we do regionals and states here in a couple weeks.
Looking forward to it.
All right. And that is Matt Taylor. Matt, give your handles and where we can find you real quick before I leave you go.
I'm on X at NPA Wrestling, and I also have Inside PA Wrestling. That's my website where I put brackets and all my rankings.
All right. Again, that is Matt Taylor. Thank you for taking some time out and hanging out with me, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Later, brother.
Yep.
And that is my man, Matty Taylor from NPA Wrestling. Again, go check his stuff out. He has rankings. He has predictions. He has all his stuff there on his site. Does a really great job. I love bringing him on because he's more of the middle of the state kind of guy. I got to bring someone from the other side of the state. I know going to talk a lot about this District 11 versus District 7 here in a minute with Kaz whenever I bring Kaz's predictions on. So, but yeah, I like to bring Matt on, and when we get towards the individual side of things, he's going to come on, make his picks for regionals and states as well. So definitely a different flavor. But before we bring Kaz on and bring his picks into picture, let's bring on our next sponsor.
Is not game day without Pizza Bosa. Perfect for the family and the guys. Right next door to the PPG Paints Arena in downtown Pittsburgh. Dine-in, pickup, and delivery available from 10 a.m. to midnight. Stop by 741 5th Avenue or call 412-575-7575.
All right. And again, guys, we'll bring Kaz on, get his picks, and then when he's done, I'm going to run down my picks. Save me for last, get them at the end. But again, guys, it's been a fantastic year. Going down Matty T's picks there. And we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to do Kaz's double A picks, then his triple A picks before I come on here at the end. So without further ado, let's bring on my man. All right. Joining me now on the call, my main man, Marky Kazanowicz, was able to nail him down to come on and give us some of his state predictions. First things first, how are you, my friend?
I am doing well, D Hall. It was a exciting weekend we had at Peters Township. 8 great matches took place. I know you were tied up at W&J earlier in the day, but you made it out for AAA. I think you got there for the finals, right?
Yeah. I walked in right about like 3 matches in. It was freaking awesome, man.
And you got to see a lot of fireworks in that Norwin Franklin regional match. And there were a lot before that, so it was a fun weekend. And now we're heading into the state tournament, which is always fun. A little bit different this year compared to the past 2 years, and then compared to the past, I feel like 50 years when it was at Hershey. But nonetheless, we're going to see some great wrestling.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's definitely a little bit different. The tournament is actually starting tomorrow, pretty much. The pigtails and the first round is starting all across the state. Now, Kaz, it's a little bit different. Kind of talk about what the setup is, and not like individual schools are hosting instead of it all being at the Giant Center.
Yeah, so 3 years ago, they moved out of the Giant Center and put, the schools would host the first round. 2 years ago, the schools would host the first and second round match, and only the top 8 in AA and AAA would make it to Altoona, where they were having the team state championships. So the pigtail, which they consider the first round, and the second round was wrestled at the host site, which is the same this year. Only difference is it's no longer at Altoona High School. They're now wrestling it at the Johnstown War Memorial. That's not the name of it anymore. I think it's something one arena, but for those of you who know the Johnstown area, it's the longtime Johnstown War Memorial, where they had the double A
First Summit Arena at Cambridge
First Summit
County.
Arena.
Yep.
The double A Southwest Regional Individual Tournament was there for a long, long time. It is an old venue, but it's an awesome venue.
Sure.
Location, obviously not the most ideal, but it can hold the people comfortably. Arena seating, it's a cool environment.
Definitely better than Altoona.
Yeah, bring your winter clothes because it's a hockey rink.
Mm-hmm.
So it's cold in there.
No doubt. All right, let's just dive right into it, my friend. I got the double A pulled up here on the board. We'll go. Let's go quarter by quarter, I guess. We'll crown each semifinalist, and then we'll do the semis at the end. First things first, Cromwell. Was that Eagle and Tri-Valley?
Yeah, so I have Tri-Valley in that one. Conwell Egan coming out of, what is it, District 12.
Yep.
Not really a wrestling district, not much there. I have Tri-Valley coming out of that. taking on Faith Christian. Faith Christian obviously is gonna win that match against Tri Valley. So I do have Faith Christian making it to Johnstown. They will be the host. Where and then that would take us to Derry and Penns Valley, which will be at Derry tomorrow night. Penns Valley, the District 6 runner-up to Bishop McCourt. We saw Penns Valley at Burrow last year. It was a very good duel. I expect this to be a very good duel as well, where I see Derry coming out on top. So I have Faith Christian and Derry in that top quarterfinal.
Love that. Yeah, and I think that Penns Valley Derry matchup is going to be one of the best ones to watch in the early going. So what do you got before we move down? Let me ask you this: Is I know you're a little bit closer to the process over there. Is Flick and the boys thinking about doing some of these matches, the Derry match and the Franklin match?
Yeah, so I believe tomorrow Westmoreland Sports Network will have a crew at Derry broadcasting Derry, Penns Valley, and we'll also have a crew at Franklin Regional doing the AAA site, where Franklin Regional was hosting the Obama Academy. The Pittsburgh City League District 8 champ will wrestle Palmyra, the District 3 fourth place, at 4:30. The winner of that will take on Franklin Regional. Frank and Westmoreland Sports Network will be covering that Franklin Regional matchup against Palmyra or Obama Academy.
Okay, so let's crown that quarterfinalist: Faith Christian versus Derry.
Faith Christian. They're number one team in the country. It's Faith Christian. They'll be in the semis.
Okay, let's go to the next pigtail down: Mifflinburg Laurel.
I have Laurel here. I thought Laurel looked really good on Saturday. They gave Burrell a really good match, and then they gave McGuffey all they could handle as well. Laurel was really, really good from 160 and up. So I think Laurel gets through that first pigtail. Now they have some travel. They're going to be traveling out to Hershey. They get about a 3.5 hour drive out to Hershey area because Bishop McDevitt will be the host site. And then in that Bishop McDevitt Laurel match, Bishop McDevitt, convincingly.
Yep.
And
Moving on
then
down to the next one.
yeah, so we have Clearfield and Reynolds. That's District 9 champ versus District 10 champ. That'll be hosted at Clearfield. I have Reynolds in it here. Clearfield's really good. But I got to see Reynolds earlier this year wrestle Burrow and Chestnut Ridge, Sagertown, and Penn Trafford at the Brookville duels. And
Ultimate
Reynolds,
duels, man. Those
yeah,
are good
Reynolds
stuff.
always tough. I have Reynolds in that match, so I have Bishop McDevitt taking on Reynolds in the second quarterfinal.
I like it. All right, so in that quarterfinal, Reynolds and Bishop McDevitt, who you got?
I think this is closer than some people may imagine. I think people think McDevitt's just going to steamroll him. McDevitt's going to win, but Reynolds has some guys in that lineup like Waylon Waite, Logan Stewart. They're tough up top. Emery Johnson. So I think Reynolds will win some matches, but not enough to upend Bishop McDevitt.
All right, let's go down to the next pigtail: Berks Catholic versus Montoursville.
Berks Catholic, Montoursville. Berks Catholic took second in their region in District 3 behind Bishop McDevitt. Berks Catholic's ranked fourth in the state. Just so happened they get a pigtail. It's how the bracket's set up with the predetermined brackets. I'm not going to get into that because we all know how you and I both feel on predetermined brackets. I'm not going to get into it. Berks, we'll save that for individual states.
Yeah.
Berks Catholic, no issue at all getting past Montoursville. Montoursville win a couple matches. So Berks Catholic handily in that pigtail, where they will take on Saucon Valley, who is the host. They're the District 11 champ. District 11 and AA is down. It's not what it's used to be. Notre Dame Green Pond up in AAA. Saucon Valley, not the same Saucon Valley they were a few years ago. So I have Berks Catholic beating them as well and moving on to the quarterfinals. I don't think that's a surprise. Everyone sees the District 11 champ. District 11 AA isn't what District 11 AAA is, Donnie.
Got you. Okay, so we got Berks Catholic and so who do you got on that top side there, buddy?
Then you have Burrell Chestnut Ridge, which will be hosted by
Dog fight.
Chestnut Ridge tomorrow. I feel like these teams wrestle every year at the Brookville Duels, team state tournament. Burrell did edge Chestnut Ridge by, I believe it was 4 points earlier in the year. I am going to hold that result and have Burrell in that match. It's going to be razor close again. It always is. And it'll be a great duel. You and I were just talking. I don't know if anyone's covering it. It's a shame if nobody's not, because that's a great match every year. My guess is there's not much coverage. It's at Chestnut Ridge. You're kind of in the middle of nowhere. But two great wrestling schools, but I do have Burrell slightly coming out on top, taking on Berks Catholic.
All right. Burks Catholic there in, well, let's crown that quarterfinalist then. Burks Catholic, crown that semifinalist rather.
I have to stay with Berks Catholic. Just the Catholic schools have been ruling AA. Their lineup is kind of handpicked how they want it. Agree with it, disagree with it. That's the way it is. So I do have Berks Catholic coming out on top of that, although I do think Burrell will give them a very good duel.
All right, let's go down to the next pigtail, General McLean McGuffey.
General McLean McGuffey. This is probably, I would say, the most competitive pigtail of them. Slightly in General McLean's favor. I'm going to lean towards General McLean. I've seen McGuffey a couple times this year. I got to see General McLean not wrestle as a team, but at the Fred Bell tournament at Grove City, I got to see a number of their wrestlers, and they're very tough. So I'm going to go with General McLean in that, and that would move them on to wrestling Bishop McCourt, which Bishop McCourt is hosting. They're the host site here. Pretty simple here. It's Bishop McCourt, over General McLean or McGuffey, whoever they get. But it's Bishop McCourt.
All right, next match above that, Hornsdale Montgomery out of District 4.
Montgomery, your District 4 champ. Brant Hare going to big places. He's the leader of that team. I have Montgomery in that, pretty convincingly in that match, which then brings us to our last quarterfinal of McCourt and Montgomery. Can't pick against McCourt. Bishop McCourt wins that. However, we do have to mention we could see a Bo Bassett Brant Hare match in that duel. They're both at 145. Bassett spent some of the year at 52. It came down to 45. Good chance we see that matchup, which could be a preview of a state title if they both stay at that weight. Don't know if they are. I don't have that information. But I hope they do. I hope they do wrestle, just from a fan's perspective. I mean, it's number 1 and 2 in the state, and Bassett's 1 in the country, and I don't think Hare's ranked 2 in the country, but I'm not picking him. I'm not picking anyone over Hare unless it would be Bassett. That's the only kid that I could make a case for after seeing that kid wrestle.
Man, I love me some Brent Hare. Man, is he good. Both him and Connor, his older brother, was really freaking good. Who's at Rutgers as well. Both the Hare brothers, I mean, so damn good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love to see that matchup as well. But you said McCourt there in the semifinals. So let's go top side first. Faith Christian, and I believe you had McDevitt. So Faith Christian, McDevitt, two of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, so these two wrestled in the semis last year, won by Faith Christian. I don't see that changing. I see Faith Christian winning that. Again, not to bring in predetermined brackets. I do think typically in the semis, you have 1 and 4 up top, 2 and 3 down low.
Yes.
I don't think Bishop McDevitt is the 4th best team. I think they're better than that. I think they're the 2nd or 3rd. Where if they were on the bottom side of the bracket, they already beat up Berks Catholic. I'm not saying McDevitt beats McCourt, but they have a better chance at beating McCourt. And if Bishop McDevitt were to wrestle Bishop McCourt, I could see McDevitt winning that duel. Now, a lot of it has to do with, McCourt is without Jax Forrest, obviously, who is now at Oklahoma State. Sam Herring, who was expected to be in that lineup, he is now enrolled at Penn State already. I know they've had some McCourt's had some guys banged up. CJ Pensiero and O'Farrell haven't been in the lineup. They're obviously still super tough. And again, I'm not saying McDevitt would beat McCourt, but I think there's a path that they could. And, I may have picked it as an upset. I have picked upsets before. But nonetheless, Faith is going to beat McDevitt. I wish it was McDevitt and McCourt on the bottom side in that semi.
Yeah. More of what we talk about so often this time of year of the PIAA shooting the wrestlers in the foot. Best state in the country and just doing dumb stuff. Anyways, moving on down to the bottom side. Berks Catholic and McCourt.
McCourt rolls them. I don't think my guess is McCourt doesn't lose a match.
Okay, so let's talk about the third place match before we move on to the championship. So who do you got in the third and fourth place coming home with the last two trophies?
So in the third and fourth place match, just how I have the bracket set up, you would get Darian Reynolds in the first round, Quincy's Burl Montgomery. I have Derry over Reynolds. I have Burl over Montgomery. Quincy semis, you would have Burks and Derry, and then Burl and McDevitt. I have Burks over Derry, and I have McDevitt over Burl. And you only place top 4. If you place top 6, I would have Burl versus Derry in that 5-6 place match, which obviously they don't wrestle. And then I have McDevitt over Burks for third and fourth, which is a District 3 rematch in which McDevitt, kind of hawsled him a little bit, which I don't see any change. So I have McDevitt third, Burks fourth. And then that takes us to the title match here.
Yeah, and you've talked a little bit about it. Faith Christian, #1 team in the country, but of course, McCourt, one of the best teams in the country as well. Who do you got?
I have Faith, and this will be year 3 of Faith over McCourt if it happens, year in a row, I should say. I think it's going to be, obviously it's going to be close and highly contested. There's nationally ranked guys at every single weight. But I just think Faith has a little too much up top from 72 and up for McCourt to handle. Not to say McCourt can't win any matches in the lighter weights. I think, or that Faith can't. I just think that 72 to heavyweight will be the difference maker for Faith Christian. So I have Faith Christian winning it. I would say by a 12 to 15 point margin, maybe slightly more. So I have Faith Christian 1, McCourt 2, McDevitt 3, and Burks 4.
All right. Let's move on to AAA.
And Bishop McCourt loves this. Being in Johnstown, everyone they're going to be in their own beds. Everyone's got to travel. It's kind of like how, Central Dauphin, when they used to run AAA at Hershey, man, everyone's in the hotel somewhere in Hershey. They got to go home. It's a nice little
10-minute drive to the arena, no doubt.
Yeah, that's nice for McCourt and some of the other local schools who don't have a super far trip.
And before we dive into the AAA brackets, let's talk about one of our good friends. That is Quest School of Wrestling, Mr. Jim Akerley, one of the best schools, not only in the WPIAL, not only in the state, but in the entire country. Some of the guys and people that Coach has produced over there is really incredible. So if you're on my side of the city, that is the west side of the city, they are located over there in 84 PA. Go check them out at questschoolofwrestling.com. Again, one of the best schools in the country. Go get better. Jim Akerley, legend in the game. Thank you, guys. All right, Kaz, let's move on to AAA, man. And this is going to be, I feel like, a little bit more fun than AA. AA is kind of chalky, but AAA, I feel like, could get a little interesting. So let's just start with the formality. Unfortunately, I get really fired up about Obama getting a spot. But, it is what it is. So let's do Obama Palmyra there in the first pigtail.
I have Palmyra in that coming out of District 3. You saw Palmyra earlier in the year at the Moon Duels. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They had beaten, I believe they beat Moon at the Moon Duels. And, we saw Moon wrestle Franklin Regional really tough earlier in the year. So Palmyra's no joke. I mean, they're really good in their lightweights. They'll have their way with Obama, and then when they wrestle Franklin Regional, you're going to see some really good matches in the lightweights with Palmyra's their 7 and 14 pounder with Sal Colangelo and Bo Fennick.
Yep.
If we do see those matchups without, we know how lineups can get bumped around, but that'll be a good duel that you can watch on Westmoreland Sports. But again, Franklin Regional, the District 7 WPIAL champ, have a little too much for Palmyra. So I do have Franklin Regional getting that quarterfinal spot in that top pod.
Okay. Sealands State College in the next one down.
State College. Sealands Grove, not the greatest district. State College, your District 6 champ. Slightly beating Altoona. I have State College in that matchup. So you'd have Franklin and State College wrestling in the first quarterfinal.
Who you got there?
Franklin.
Okay.
I have Franklin Regional here.
Semis.
Yep. So I have Franklin moving their way to the semis. I think it'll be pretty competitive, but Franklin's solid everywhere.
Becca versus Owen J. Roberts in the next pigtail down.
Becca in a landslide.
Yep.
They're ranked 2 in the state. It's kind of a crime that District 11 only gets 2 teams in this bracket.
Yes.
Easton, Emmaus, and Notre Dame Green Pond are sitting at home when, they're all those 3 that are sitting at home are all top 7 in this bracket, in my opinion. And with how those District 11 bracket went down, anybody could have beat anybody. I just think it's a little bit of a disservice to District 11. Obviously, there's a little District 7 and 11 rivalry that's always gone on. District 7 gets 3, 11 gets 2. I don't feel that that's right. If it was up to me, if it was up to me, District 11 would get 4 and District 7 would get 4. But I don't make the rules, D-Hall.
I know. I had a conversation with Matty T about it last night, just talking about how they do things, and it's just old and antiquated, and it's how we've always done it, and blah 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 blah. And it's like, we talk about this shit until we're blue in the face at this time of year. It's just so frustrating because it's the best teams in the entire country that are just sitting at home that should be here, that you could be showcasing for your state. I don't know.
Notre Dame Green Pond's ranked top 50 in the country.
No, it's crazy, bub. It's crazy. All right, Boyertown Wilson.
Boyertown.
Okay, and then Abington Heights versus Becca in that next little section there.
Becca in a landslide. Might not lose a match.
Becca, Boyertown.
Becca, pretty convincingly. Boyertown has some kids, but Becca convincingly.
And that's not the first time you've picked a pigtail to roll all the way out to the semis. So that's another thing to be said. It's just how deep some of the different regions are. All right, LaSalle College, Connellsville.
LaSalle College, Connellsville. LaSalle College, again, not the best district. I believe it's District 12.
Yep.
Not the best wrestling district. Connellsville, not your normal third place team. Really freaking good.
Really good. I mean, could have easily beat Franklin Regional.
Yes.
Things broke the right way. So Connellsville, Gettysburg.
This is interesting. Gettysburg's your District 3 champ. Kind of rolled through District 3. Had a good match with West Lawn. Gettysburg's tough. They've been tough the past 3 or 4 years. A good friend of mine, a Central Dauphin kid, he's been telling me, he goes, Gettysburg's good, man. Like they can make a run, but Connellsville is so freaking good. From 7 to 60, I don't see Gettysburg winning. I have Connellsville going to the quarters. So I have 2 pigtails in AAA in the quarterfinals, Connellsville and Becca.
I love that. All right, DuBois, Norwin.
DuBois, Norwin, pretty convincingly. DuBois has some good kids, Galeos and Kendall Hoer, but Norwin's got 13 really good kids. So give me Norwin in that one, which sets up a WPIAL matchup in the quarterfinals, Norwin and Connellsville, a match we haven't seen this year.
I was just going to say, Matt Taylor asked me that, and I was like, No, dude, I don't think they wrestled. And I had to like go back and think about it and look at it because I was like, they obviously didn't wrestle on Saturday and they didn't wrestle at all time this year. But all the other teams kind of seem to hit and meet, but these two haven't. So I'm really excited to see this potential matchup.
Yeah, I talked to a guy I teach with at Burl today who's a wrestling guy. His kids wrestled at Burl, and I told him, I said, Connellsville and Norman are going to wrestle in the quarters. I'm calling it. And he goes, they haven't wrestled, have they? I said, no. I said, we've seen literally the top 8 teams in AAA and the WPIAL. They've all met at some point this year, whether it was in the postseason, regular season, whatever. But this is one we haven't seen, and one that, as a wrestling fan, you want to see. The matchups are insane here. There's going to be a ton of head-to-head, state medalists for state medalists. I'm more excited about this match than possibly the potential state finals match here, just because I could see it going either way.
For sure.
That being said, Norwin in a very, very close match. I think the difference will be Norwin at 172 and up compared to Connellsville at 172 and up. And, Connellsville relies so heavily on that 7 to 60. Rightfully so. They're so good. But Norwin can match up with them there. I mean,
right.
you have Landon Sidden in that thing, who Sidden's going to get 6 on anybody. Brooks Blasco's wrestling his absolute tail off right now.
Klippa's wrestling really good too.
Klippa, unbelievable right now. And maybe the unsung hero in that lineup that you probably, people have heard of, but Don Butera and Nate Klingensmith, what they've done at 33 and 45, recently has been nothing short of unbelievable. They're firing on all cylinders, and I think even though losing to Franklin Regional, they have so much momentum. I don't see them losing to Connellsville, even though it's going to be super close. So give me Norwin.
All right. So Norwin is the second WPIAL semifinalist. Let's go down to the next pigtail there, Central Dauphin Penridge.
Central Dauphin, that'll be at Nazareth. Central Dauphin, just a name. You see them in a bracket, they're tough to pick against. Coach Swag's been there forever. I respect the CD program, everything they've done over the years. Central Dauphin, for sure in that match, which would lead them into Nazareth, number 1 team in the state, who's your District 11 champ. Everything good I said about CD still holds here, but Nazareth just a different animal, Donnie. Just a different animal.
Like we talked about, District 11 so damn good, and they're the best team coming out of there. They emerged from that madness out there. So yeah, you got to go Nazareth in there. But how about St. Joe's Prep and Council Rock South in that match? Who's going to find Nazareth in the quarterfinal there?
Council Rock in a blowout. I don't see St. Joe's winning many matches here. Council Rock in a blowout, which then leads us to Council Rock and Nazareth. Nazareth convincingly here. Council Rock will get a couple matches, but nothing. Nazareth's not going to be in a position to lose or panic in that duel. So that brings me to Franklin and Becca in the top semi, and Norwin and Nazareth in the bottom semi. 2 District 7 versus District 11 matchups here. Kind of how I think from a fan's perspective, that's what you want to see. There will be a lot of bragging rights, not just because of your team, but your district. You know how it is. District 7 and 11 have been talking trash, comparing each other individually and team-wise for years. Obviously, I feel one way about it, and everybody in Lehigh feels another way about it. That's the beauty, and that's the beauty of it, though, right?
Absolutely.
So in the top semi, I'm gonna take Franklin Regional.
Ooh, baby.
I'm gonna take them in a close match. There are moves to be made, and I've said it before, and I know you have too. I'll put the strategy of Matt Leby up against anybody.
Yep.
In his coaching staff, I don't want to discredit his coaching staff either, because I know they play a big part. But I've seen it too many times, Franklin Regional be called the underdog amongst fans, media, wrestling people, whatever you want to call it. And they find a way and it's because their kids wrestle tough, hard, and lineup manipulation and strategy is, 10 out of 10. And I think all three of those factors come into play in that duel. So give me Franklin Regional.
All right, bottom side, Norwin versus Nazareth in the other 7-11 matchup.
As much as I want an all WPIAL finals match, I am going to go with Nazareth. They've been number one in the state all year. I don't think that changes in this match. I think they have just a little too much for Norwin, as much as it pains me to say that. But give me Nazareth there. But Norwin's not going to lay over. Norwin's going to win their matches, and they're going to make it a duel. But I think at the end of the 13 matches, Nazareth will have just a little too much.
All right, before we go to the championship, who do you got for third and fourth?
Third and fourth. So how the bracket breaks down: first round, Quancies. I have State College beating Boyertown, and Connellsville beating Council Rock South. Quancy semis, I have Norwin would be taking on State College. I have Norwin in that. And Connellsville versus Becca, I have Becca in that over Connellsville. So for third and fourth, I have Norwin beating Becca. So I have Norwin taking third and Becca taking fourth.
All right. Who's winning the state championship?
Oh, I went back and forth. I was doing lineups, PA wrestling. This was so tough because Nazareth is solid everywhere. Solid absolutely everywhere. Franklin, obviously they don't have holes, but I see Nazareth is more like this, Franklin like this, where Franklin's going to get bonus points in all the places. I don't know if Nazareth gets a ton of bonus, but I think Nazareth could be favored in more weight classes than Franklin. So you can look at it two ways. Do you play the, Nazareth's going to win 7 of 6 or 7 of 13, but a lot of them aren't bonus, where Franklin's going to get a lot of bonus. How do you look at it? And I've always said, chase for 7 wins. Chase for 7 wins, because odds are you're going to get a couple bonus in there, especially when you have high-level teams, because high-level teams have high-level wrestlers. Chase for 7. I found myself leaning towards Nazareth having a better opportunity to get 7. But I found myself giving Franklin a lot of bonus in potential, lineup manipulation. So with that being said, I'm going to go against my chase for 7 wins and lean towards the bonus side and give it to Franklin Regional. So I'm going to give Franklin Regional the AAA state championship over Nazareth. So that gives me Franklin 1, Nazareth 2, Norwin 3, Becca 4.
Oh, baby, baby. I love it. It is going to be a lot of fun. And, that's some interesting stuff. I love how you broke everything down there, my friend. I'm going to give my picks here in just a little bit whenever I hit the live button a little bit later on. I know you have some stuff going on tonight. Matty T is working. But we were able to get all the recordings in, and should be a great show. Thank you for hanging out with me as always, Kaz. And, we'll see how it all plays out, my friend.
Yes, I'm excited. Other thing, I have to give a shout out. Don't want to be too much of a Westmoreland County homer. Obviously, I live in Westmoreland County. I grew up in Westmoreland County. First time since 2007 that the WPIAL champion and runner-up in AA and AAA both represented Westmoreland County. Burrell, Derry, Franklin Regional, and Norwin. First time since 07 when it was Burrell, Derry in AA. AAA was Hempfield over Penn Trafford. So I do have to give that little shout out to Westmoreland County and the 4 teams who competed in the championship matches. I thought it was a cool little fact that was brought up to me that day. Nobody really knew, was it the first time? When was the last time? And I got the confirmation this morning from none other than Chris Smitty Smith of Westmoreland Sports Network. He gave me the last time that had happened, which I was a freshman in high school. when that happened. So you
I
guys
was
do the math.
8th grade. Oh my goodness.
Shit, I'm a year older than you. I forgot
I
about
think so.
that.
Yeah, you're at 10, right? 2010.
2010.
I was 11. So yeah, man, it's been a minute.
Hempfield, Penn Trafford, Berlin Dairy in 2007. That Hempfield team was really good. You know who the Hempfield coach was?
Was that Vinny D's?
Vince DiAugustine.
Mm-hmm. Been there for a little bit. Was there for
Vince-
a little bit. And that shout out Vinny D right before I leave you go. Big win over Millersville on Friday night before we say goodbye. But yeah, that was awesome.
Yes, it was. And Vince, that team point, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It wasn't right. You're still the man, Vinny D. Got to give you a shout out.
Love that. Love that. All right, Kaz, I appreciate you, brother. And we'll talk real soon.
Yes, sir, Donnie.
All right. And that was Mr. Marky Kazanowicz. I think that's a great time now to talk about our next sponsor. That is Manor Valley Golf Club over there in Export, Pennsylvania, just on the east side of the city. Great place to go hang out, get 18 holes of golf in. Sometimes they have under the lights on the front nine. It's just an awesome place to go play some golf. Couple bars to go hang out at as well. Restaurant, you name it, just a great place. So again, Manor Valley Golf Club out there in Export, PA. Go check them out. All right, guys. Talk to Matty T. Talk to Kaz. I'm going to break down my picks. It's been an interesting night, man. Just, kind of interesting sitting on listening to these guys as I wait for kind of my turn to break down the brackets. Normally we're all together and it's kind of just a big discussion. So a little bit of a different flavor for you guys. But again, let's just kind of dive right into it. Starting off at the top, I got Tri-Valley in that first pigtail. I think that they're going to go out there and meet Faith Christian more than what we talked about with Faith Christian. I think they're going to win that match there against Tri-Valley. Moving down to the next match there in the top quarter, Darien Penns Valley. Again, I think that this is perhaps the best opening round match, both AA and AAA. Maybe I'm biased, but I don't care. Give me Derry, though. I think Derry's going to win this match. And again, we'll talk about more in the next match there in that quarterfinal. Well, I guess we could talk about that. Let's crown that semifinals. That's kind of how we've been doing it. I think if Derry was in a different spot in the bracket, they would have a chance to go maybe deeper. But they're not going to get past Faith Christian. Faith Christian just a little bit too much. Again, the number one team in the country. Don't got to speak too much more than that. They're very, very good. So give me Faith Christian to be the first semifinalist there. Now moving down to the next pigtail. That is Laurel versus Mifflinburg. Laurel got to travel all the way out to Bishop McDevitt, going out to Hershey, which is cool for them. It's a great team, a team that, I know that Coach Reno and company have, they've been believing in this squad for a while, and I think that they're going to get it done here. They're going to win this matchup in the opening round, the pigtail here. But I do not think that they're going to get past Bishop McDevitt. Unfortunately, Bishop McDevitt, just too much. One of the best teams, not only in the state, but in the country, in my opinion. So Bishop McDevitt moving out to the quarterfinals there. Clearfield Reynolds. I like this round. I like this matchup. Again, Reynolds, one of the best teams up north, took out some really good squads up there that, the Greenville and Grove City's up there. Clearfield traditionally a really good school coming out of District 9, but too much here for Reynolds. Too much for Clearfield. Reynolds is going to win this one, moving out to this matchup against Bishop McDevitt and Reynolds. Now, I know that we talked about it. Reynolds is, right there. I just think McDevitt's a little bit too much on the bonus side of things. I think they're going to have a little bit too much, whether it's majors or techs. whatever the case may be, I think they're going to get the job done and move out to the semis to face Faith Christian out there. Okay, moving on down. Let's talk about that first pigtail, that Berks Catholic Montoursville. I think you've heard both Kaz and Matty T talk about how good this Berks Catholic squad is, and it's more of what we talked about all year. The Catholic schools, they're very good this year, and I take Berks Catholic there. And again, this isn't the Saucon Valley we that we're came accustomed to the last few years. District 11's really good in AAA, AA, not as much. So give me Berks Catholic to beat Saucon Valley there, coming out of the pigtail. Again, that region, District 3 is really good, and with the front side of that, the winning side there is McDevitt. The Berks Catholic's pretty dang good too. So and that sets up the winner of the Chestnut Borough match. And again, this is going to be, I really think that both WPIAL schools have good chances to win their opening round matchups. In this one, it came down to, or I believe they wrestled at the Ultimate Duel, as I said it a few times. And, I know that Cam Baker got a win over Dom Deputy in that matchup, but it's going to be a dogfight. Ultimately, I'm not gonna pick against Burrell. I think Burrell's gonna get the job done there and set up a match against Berks Catholic in the quarterfinal. Chestnut Ridge, always traditionally a really good squad coming out of District 6. I just don't think, or District 5 rather. Sorry, I just don't think. I don't think they got enough. I think Burrell's gonna get the job done. And that sets up that quarterfinal of Burrell and Berks Catholic. Unfortunately, I think Berks Catholic just a little bit too loaded top to bottom to beat Burrell and send themselves to the semifinals. Burrell's going to drop down and have a chance to fight back. But unfortunately, just how it is, man, these Catholic schools are pretty dang good. Berks Catholic, no exception there. Okay, moving down to the pigtail. General McLean, McGuffey. I got McGuffey. Give me McGuffey over General McLean. I think McGuffey wrestled really well in defeating Laurel, gave Burrow a good match, but they will not have enough to beat McCourt. McCourt, again, there's not much more to be talked about than what we've already said. One of the best teams, not only in the state, but in the country. They're very, very good. Bo Bassett, Keegan Bassett, Penzero, just on and on. McMullen, they're loaded. And I think that, they're obviously going to beat McGuffey. Now, Montgomery, Hornsdale, I like Montgomery. And, I think we kind of talked about it with Kaz there. I want to see a potential Brent Hare, Bo Bassett match. I want that match. I love that style. Bo Bassett's kind of short, stocky, go. Brent Hare wants to grab onto you, slow you down. He's going to put the boots on you, kind of stretch you out. And it's just kind of a dog, long, but he's so strong. Again, I love me some Brent Hare. So yeah, I got Montgomery and Bishop McCourt in that matchup, but give me McCourt just a little bit too much over there. Now, moving up here, the Berks Catholic McCourt matchup in this semi. Before we move up, I'm gonna go with McCourt. Just a little bit too much. Again, I know it sounds like I'm repeating myself from the other guys, but that's kind of just how the brackets played out. I think really the big toss-up matches is both the WPIAL matches. I'll be honest with you guys. The Burrell Chestnut Ridge match and the Dairy Penns Valley match. I think both those matchups are the kind of the toss-ups that you guys want to keep your eyes on out there. But again, talking more about the semis, I got McCourt on the top side moving on to the finals. And then the bottom side. And then I got Faith Christian. More of what we saw last year. I just think it's a collision course again. I'd be kind of a fool not to pick that, to be honest with you guys. And then moving down the backside, I think that Burrow has a good chance to come back and take fourth. But it depends on where Well, it depends on the opening round matchup, to be honest with you guys, obviously. But ultimately, just give me the semifinalist losers to drop down and both take third and fourth, and that being McDevitt is going to take third, and Berks Catholic is going to take fourth. So, again, guys, it's just how it is. These Catholic schools kind of, they load up their lineup and they're really good, and it's just the way it is in Double A. And I think that Faith Christian, obviously being one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country, they just kind of roll and get the job done. McCourt, not the team that they were last year, obviously losing some major pieces. Now the question is, what happens after this year? Does that kind of? I think it's going to be a bit of a change after next year. We'll see what the landscape looks like. But I think this is kind of like, I don't know if it's the end of the McCourt era or not, but when you lose Jax Forrest and a Bo Bassett and some of these guys, Melvin Miller here in a couple years, the Keegan Bassett, you can't. They don't have replacements for those guys. They don't. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how it all plays out here in a couple years. But give me Faith Christian to win the championship. Moving on to AAA. But before we do that, let's hear from one more of our sponsors.
Hi, my name is Antonio Reyino, owner of Reversal Health and Wellness. I've been in healthcare for nearly 20 years and seen the effects obesity can have on someone's health. That's what inspired me to offer GLP-1 therapy at Reversal Health and Wellness. New evidence-based research has shown remarkable benefits of the therapy, including reversing fatty liver disease, improvement of sleep apnea, and slowing the progression of heart and kidney disease. And unlike national online companies, you won't get lost in the mix and you're not just another number. You will receive a personalized treatment plan tailored to your goals and your health. And if you're not near Newcastle, Pennsylvania, no worries. Telemedicine options are always available. Also at Reversal Health and Wellness, we offer IV hydration therapy. We offer 7 different IV cocktails infused with nutrients designed to restore balance, boost energy, and support optimal health. Rather, if you're an athlete training for a competition, or a fatigued mother or two, or recovering from an illness, IV hydration will benefit you. We're located in Newcastle, Pennsylvania, on Wilmington Road at the Maison Building. You can either book online or call the office. Thank you.
All right. Again, thank you, Reversal Health and Wellness, Mr. Antonio Renia. All right, let's talk about what I find one of the most fun brackets in a long time, ladies and gentlemen. Bang, the AAA team state bracket. I'll tell you what, guys, it's going to be a blast watching these. Having the privilege to watch Franklin Regional on Western One Sports Network is going to be really cool. So let's just kind of start there. Obama Palmyra. I think Palmyra wins that pretty easily. They're going to go out and face Franklin Regional again. We kind of talked a little bit about Palmyra. They have some good lighter weights. That Fouts at 107 is pretty good. That Fouts Fennec match it's going to be a good one. I'm not sure. I think I would probably favor Fennec, but I think Fouts is a goer. But I think ultimately Franklin Regional is going to win that matchup there and move out to the quarterfinal. Now, Selinsgrove State College. I think State College is going to win this. I just think that District 4 is not really great, especially in the AAA side of things. State College, not bad. I just don't think, Selinsgrove has enough. So State College moves on, set up that quarterfinal up top. And I got Franklin Regional winning that one. I think State College has a chance to beat Franklin Regional, but I do think Franklin Regional is the favorite in that matchup. And I think that they're going to get the job done, but they got to make sure that they're focused and, do the thing. So moving down, the next little pigtail there, Becca, O&J Roberts. O&J Roberts, traditionally a pretty good school coming out of District 1. Becca, again, we've talked about it with both guys, Matty T and Kaz. District 11, really not even District 11. Just the PIAA is a mess that only District 11 only gets 2 schools. With the density that they have, of course, we talked about Cannon Mac sitting at home. I believe that they can make noise in any one of these, little quadrants. It's unfortunate, guys. I do feel bad for the schools that sit at home that are really good. I think that they deserve to have a chance, just the way it is. So Becca, I think, beats Abington Heights, moves out to the quarters there, and I think they're going to face Boyertown. I think they're going to beat Boyertown. So that's setting up the top semifinal. We're going to talk about that. All right. Gettysburg. Okay, before we do Gettysburg, let's see the pigtail. LaSalle College, Connellsville. I got Connellsville. Connellsville could have won the WPIAL tournament this year. A team that, yes, they lost to Franklin Regional, but I don't know if they're one of the hottest teams in the state. I'll say that. After losing to Franklin Regional, still going out and what they did against Cannon Mac was really impressive, and they have just been coming. They beat Kiski twice, which I would say Kiski's easily the 5th best team, in my opinion, in the WPIAL. I would say that pretty confidently. And they beat them pretty handily twice, and they just improved so fast since the beginning of the year. So give me Connellsville there, and I got Connellsville over Gettysburg. I think that matchup's going to be really close. I think that Connellsville's got to make sure that they get their bonus points early. Obviously where they kind of lost against Franklin Regional, some of those guys that they count on down low took losses, and they got to find a way to make sure those guys get wins, because up top from 170 to 285, they're not as strong as they are from, down low, especially like 14 to, the Lilies, like a little bit past the Lilies, like 14 to 60 to 70, right around there, wherever they bump to the second Lily. I mean, they're very, very good there. So I just think too much. Give me Connellsville there. And that moves me down to the next match, Du Bois and Norwin. Du Bois is a good school, man. They're not bad, but they're not enough for Norwin. Norwin's one of the best teams in the state, no doubt. And that sets up, to me, one of the more interesting quarterfinals in all the state tournament. Just for me, guys, I'm a little bit of a history nut, right? Especially with wrestling. Obviously, Kyle Martin, Connellsville alum, but haven't faced them this year. I just think that, seeing that matchup and them not wrestling yet, I would be so locked in, and I think that they match up so well against each other. Man, I went back and forth, and I'll be honest with you. I said, I'll pick it in the moment. That's what I always do, because I'm like, I really don't know until I get in there and I listen to my gut. And I'll tell you what, my gut says Connellsville. I'm going to take Connellsville over Norwin. And for me, that's really tough for me to pick, because I think Norwin's one of the best teams in the state. But I think Connellsville is just on a rise, man. I think they easily could have beat Franklin Regional there in the opening round match. In the semifinals there in the opening round match at Peters Township, rather. I think they're wrestling great. And Norwin, now, if I watch this match and I think Norwin comes out and they win by 10, am I going to be surprised? Absolutely not. I'm not. I truly think this is like a 55-45 match. I truly do. And I'm just kind of going off my stomach, and I think that Connellsville gets it done. But that being said, whoever wins this match, I think, has a really good chance to beat whoever we talk about here in a minute. But I'll tell you what, guys, if it does happen, right? We gotta can't get the cart of the whatever, the horse in front of the cart, or whatever the saying is. You know, Connellsville's got to do its job, beat LaSalle and beat Gettysburg, and Norwin's got to beat Du Bois. But man, I am going to be locked in on that matchup, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's move down to the next quarter. St. Joe Prep, or let's do the pigtail. I got Central Dauphin over Penn Ridge. Penn Ridge, you know, a pretty good school all the way out there in District 1. Central Dauphin, too much, guys. A lot of respect for that program. And, you know, I just think that they're going to get the job done. Now they're going to run into the brick wall that is Nazareth, though. Nazareth will beat Central Dauphin. Council Rock South, St. Joe's Prep. Council Rock South, again, too much for St. Joe's Prep. Nazareth will beat Council Rock South. Now, that sets up Nazareth, Connellsville. And a match that, you know, we've seen. I'll tell you what, guys, I went back and forth on this one, and I really wanted to take Connellsville to beat them. And we'll talk about both these semis, and I really wanted to, but I just don't think it's enough. I think Nazareth being the number 1 team in the state, Connellsville's run stops there. I kind of agree with what Matt Taylor was saying. I just think it's too much. Nazareth gets there on the bottom side. Now, Becca, Franklin Regional. We talked about it with Kaz. It's like Franklin's got to rely on bonus and the coaching staff knowing how to maneuver things. And I have to go back and check, guys, and see when's the last time we had a District 7 team in the finals. But it's going to happen again. Franklin Regional is going to make the finals here. They're going to beat Becca. And it's going to set up a Franklin Regional versus Nazareth final, which, man, I would be juiced about. So let's talk about the bottom side before we get there. We have, I'm going to take Connellsville is going to come down, and basically the same thing I said for Double A, guys. It's not going to change too much. I just think that's just how the brackets play out. Unfortunately, if they seeded it better, which is, you know, a different thing, but whatever. I got Connellsville taking 3rd, Becca taking 4th for 3rd and 4th there. Again, both schools coming out of the freaking pigtail. You know, whatever. It is what it is, man. I just think it's unfortunate that there's schools that are sitting at home that don't have a chance to wrestle here, that are clearly better than some of these schools. Let's call it what it is. Some of these schools that, you know, are here. Yeah, they're great schools, but they're not better than some of the schools that are sitting at home at both District 11 and District 7. And that's proven by the picks by all three of us tonight. So let's talk about the final. Franklin Regional and Nazareth. Nazareth been one of the best schools in a long time. I'm learning my lesson. I'm not picking against Franklin Regional. Give me Franklin Regional win the state championship here. Again, guys, they've been on a run. They find a way to win. They've been in all these close matches all year. They find a way to win, and I think they're going to find a way to win the state championship here. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. That's my pick, man. Franklin Regional Panthers. I'll tell you what, guys, it's going to be a lot of fun watching. Not only tomorrow, you guys got to be locked in, you know, wherever we can. I'm going to try to post, you know, any type of stream that I can find. I'm going to post on my Instagram and on my story, so you guys can kind of click through. You know, I know that NFHS will be on there, I'm sure, on some of these. Flick has a couple, I believe the Dairy match and the Franklin Regional match. That Dairy match is going to be a barn burner. I hope that someone finds a way to do the Borough match, you know, just selfishly, but just lock in, guys, man. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow and a lot of fun this weekend at Johnstown. So again, guys, thank you for hanging out with me. Another nice long show, hour and a half as we tick over the clock here. Just Always a great time hanging out with you guys as we wind down for the team side of things for the next checkpoint of the season, right for the individuals. And you guys know that is one of my favorite times of the year. But let's see who goes out and raises the big team trophy. Good luck out there to all the WPIAL schools. We'll see y'all later.